Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Diane Parker. Miller has the full forecast, plus we look at the flood damage in Helena. But first, our top story. Breaking overnight in Great Falls, police are investigating a shooting involving a police officer. Shortly before 4 a.m., officers responded to a disturbance on the 400 block of 8th Avenue South. The investigation resulted in the officer-involved shooting. However, there is no word on who fired a weapon, who was shot, or whether anyone was seriously injured. New details today as a man is in custody after a mass shooting at a 4th of July parade in suburban Chicago. At least 6 people were killed and dozens hurt when a gunman opened fire from a rooftop onto the crowd below in downtown Highland Park, Illinois. A person of interest, Robert Cremo III, was arrested after a brief car chase. Many 4th of July events in the Chicago area were canceled. In Billings and across the state, hundreds chose to mark Independence Day with protest rather than celebration. Demonstrators gathered outside the Yellowstone County Courthouse, denouncing the Supreme Court's Roe v. Wade decision. They argue women's freedoms are being stripped away, a concept in direct opposition to what the 4th of July represents. Similar protests took place all over Montana, where abortion remains legal.
I don't think it's a Montana value to be okay with being told what to do, and this is very much SCOTUS telling all of us what to do. So I hope other Montanans say, no.
Abortion is protected under the Privacy Clause in Montana's Constitution, but several Republican lawmakers have hinted at trying to change that. Today, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is discussing economic issues with the Vice Premier of China. During a virtual call, they talked about the importance of maintaining a stable global supply chain. China voiced concerns about U.S. tariffs and sanctions on China, and Yellen mentioned the global impact of Russia's war in Ukraine. Both sides agree to keep an open line of communication. And that's today's Leading Look. More flooding in Montana as Helena was hit by a destructive storm system Sunday evening that downed trees and caused significant flooding in the downtown area. Several streets in and around the capital area saw rapid flooding, with a number of homeowners reporting flooded basements. MTN's Tom Buchanan has the very latest from Helena.
A flash flood warning was issued for many in the Helena area just before 7:30 on Sunday evening. A fast-moving storm dumped water over downtown, quickly sending a torrent of water down North Last Chance Gulch and other downtown area streets.
Many places downtown saw water damage, and the storm took out trees and tree limbs around the city. The torrent of water left mud, gravel, and dirt in many areas. Dave Birmingham, owner of Golden Girls Antique Mall, had minimal damage to the shop, but was shoveling all of that debris out of his parking lot Monday morning.
I'm going to say 700 pounds so far, and I've still got a couple more to go.
Just up the street at Aunt Bonnie's Books, owners Lauren and Matt Thompson also avoided much damage to their store.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit of water in front of the front door here, but none of the books are wet, none of the carpet is really wet, so very fortunate.
But just across the street, Sage and Oats shop co-owner Major Robinson and building co-owner Matt Bitts tell me that the flooding in their building was much more extensive.
And I noticed there was a bunch of hail that had collected in the office and in the bathroom, which was surprising because there was no leaks on the roof or anything. But apparently, after looking at it closer, that it had come up through the toilet, and the pressure had just forced all of the hail and water right up onto the floor.
Bitt says that these business owners are resilient folk. Additionally, Robinson of Sage and Oats says that he plans to have the shop back open on Tuesday, July 5th.
I have no doubt in my mind that we'll get things put back to rights and doors will be open, and, folks will be getting back to the summer trade.
Yep. There is a relief fund currently going in order to support nonprofits affected by the flooding. The Helena Area Emergency Relief Fund was put together by the Helena Area Community Foundation in partnership with the United Way of the Lewis and Clark area. We'll have a link to the fund in this story on our website. Reporting in Helena, Tom Buchanan, MTN News.
The YWCA is asking for financial donations today after it flooded over the weekend. Take a look at the damage. We're told mattresses and other items were ruined by the floodwaters, and the best way to assist is financially. You can do so directly to the organization, or the Helena Area Community Foundation and the Lewis and Clark Area United Way have partnered up to open up a fund to help nonprofits affected by the flooding. MTN stations across the state are also raising money to support our neighbors affected by the devastating flooding. The MTN Flood Relief Campaign is an MTN News initiative in collaboration with the Scripps Howard Foundation. If you would like to contribute, visit your local MTN website or text floods to 345-345. Near Red Lodge, most campgrounds are still closed for flooding-related repairs. However, one campground is open. Campers flock to Basin Campground this holiday weekend to enjoy the outdoors. We're told many campgrounds won't reopen this summer.
It was a bit of a letdown, seeing as Montana country is so special, to have it out of commission for the summer season especially. But, you know, we made it.
It costs just $15 per night to camp at Basin.
Well, I trust everybody's had a good Tuesday so far. Some spots, central and eastern parts of Montana, already seen some wicked weather overnight, and we're not done yet, especially central and eastern parts again today, where we have the possibility of seeing some really nasty weather, strong to severe thunderstorms. We'll tell you more about that, what we're thinking with the main forecast coming up here in just a bit. Highs today, for the most part, in the 70s and 80s. We'll go 79 in Helena, 81 in Missoula, 77 in Kalispell, 80 in Havre. Billings up to 79 today. West Yellowstone 77. Down in northern parts of Wyoming, 70s, 80s, and maybe even some 90s. Are you going to try to get there in Worland? Look at that. But anyway, thunderstorms all the way possible through Thursday. We could see severe weather. We'll tell you where coming up.
Earlier this year, we told you about a report from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs making recommendations on the future of VA healthcare facilities. That included closing some VA clinics in Montana. Now, though, it appears those recommendations aren't going anywhere due to opposition in Congress. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian got reactions from Montana senators on where the VA should go from here.
The market assessment recommendations released earlier this year laid out sweeping proposals for changes to VA facilities. But senators like Montana's Jon Tester and Steve Daines said they weren't satisfied with the recommendations as they came out.
I've heard from veterans from all over the country and veteran service organizations that have told us time and time again that this is a flawed process.
The review process began as part of the VA Mission Act, passed with bipartisan support in 2018. In Montana, the proposals that came out of it included closing VA clinics in Browning, Glasgow, and Plentywood, and the Community Living Center in Miles City. Tester and Daines said the recommendations in Montana and the rest of the country were outdated, based on questionable data, and especially bad for rural veterans. Last week, they were among 12 senators from both parties who signed on to a statement vowing not to approve any members to the Asset and Infrastructure Review, or AIR Commission, and they say even more are in agreement. If no one's confirmed to the commission, the process and the recommendations can't move forward. In a statement, Daines said, quote, "The AIR Commission, as it stands today, would make VA infrastructure decisions on old, faulty data that would disadvantage Montanans and rural veterans around the country. We must ensure any such commission honors the commitment to provide quality care to our Montana veterans. And until then, I cannot and will not support it. I'm committed to ensuring veterans in every corner of our state have access to the care and services they need." Tester, who chairs the Senate's Veterans Affairs Committee, says it is important to make sure the VA's facilities are meeting the needs of the people they serve, but it's a responsibility that Congress should take on themselves.
The facilities are out there. If the facilities aren't up to snuff, then Congress needs to sit down and say, hey, look, if we're going to send folks off to war, we've got to take care of them when we get home. And if we're not willing to take care of them when we get home, then we shouldn't be sending them off to war. And that's what I would tell the veterans out there. We're listening to you, and we're reacting to what you're saying.
Tester says he's currently working on another bill to provide more support for VA infrastructure projects. At Fort Harrison, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.